Hi, welcome in. Thanks for joining us today. We're looking at Altria Group. This is former Philip Morris, the tobacco company. Yes, the cigarette company. Cigarettes have been in the news recently. The president has, the president's administration has rumored that they're going to make some moves involving nicotine and cigarettes. And Altria Group, ticker symbol MO, its shareholders, including myself, we're not liking it. The price is dropping a smidge, and we'd love to update you. We've talked about this before, Paul. This is a magic formula investing stock. It still is. This is the little book that beats the market. This book that we've talked about a zillion times over. I have money in this, Paul. I bought $5,000 of this last July. I'm only up 18%, Paul, and I need you.
Oh my gosh, how are you surviving?
I need you to coddle me and fondle that thumbs up. Fondle my thumbs up and help me through this price plummet. Not a plummet, but the Biden administration, Mo, as you were saying. Tell me what they're doing with nicotine. You're a heavy smoker, so I know you have the inside info on this. There you go. Go ahead.
They said that they're going to mandate that these cigarette companies need to put levels of nicotine that are not addictive in their cigarettes. So I'm not really sure what that means. You're the chemist. Explain to me.
I have no
Wait,
clue.
you went to
either.
med school.
He's actually has a PhD.
I did not study nicotine. I do know, oddly enough, Mo, I don't know if you've heard this, but people who do smoke their whole life and don't die of lung cancer, the nicotine levels have something to do with their brain. They're incredibly wise. Paul, I'm telling you right now, I'm digressing. I found a tape of myself talk. My mom recorded me when I was 1 year old, goo goo gaga baby. And 40 years ago, Paul. And I said, Mom, where did you do this? And she says, I don't know. I think maybe I was at Florida with my father. Sure enough, Grandpa starts talking. This woman can remember single events from 40 years ago, Paul. She's, I get off.
It must be those nicotinic
That's what I'm telling you.
receptors.
It's the 7 billion cigarettes going through her system. I love you, Mom. You know I love you.
That's mother likes to smoke.
Paul, let's get after Altria Group. I'd love to get your thoughts. Is this still a buy with the price dropping? Is it a better buy now? Let's take a look at our 8 pillars of fundamentals and look at this company. It's in the tank a smidge, and maybe this is a great time to purchase it, Paul.
So this is a 10-year chart on our Everything Money software website. That's more information later. But look at 10 years ago. It was below 30. Got as high as freaking like almost $80, and now it's at $50-some a share. So it's had it's still up from 10 years ago, quite the whirlwind, but either way, it's almost a $100 billion company. Their PE is 21.8, so that's an X there, but they have very healthy margins, 21.43%. They have a dividend yield that's very strong, about a $6 billion dividend payment every year with a 6.5% dividend yield.
6.5, that's huge, Paul.
Now, what we want to do here, everybody remembers, dividends are not always safe. This is one of the main things we want to teach on this channel. Everyone thinks, oh, they're paying a dividend. You want to make sure that the free cash flow can easily support the dividend and other activities the company wants to take up. We will look at that more later in the cash flow statement, but you'll understand, you'll be so much wiser than all your friends when you listen to this and go, guys, who cares about the dividend payment? The question is, can they support it? So, on to the next 2 pillars.
Pillar number 3 is revenue growth over the past 5 years, Paul.
Revenue growth, 25.65 to 26.15. The smallest of checks imaginable. I mean, this is so small of a check. And look at their revenue of the last 10 years, Seth. 24 billion to 26 billion. I mean, this is absolutely stagnant. Where is the growing markets for cigarettes?
Africa, Asia.
Yeah, it tends to be more third world countries have growing markets for cigarettes, not more advanced countries.
Remember that video, that fat baby that was smoking? Mo, you remember that?
Was that real?
That was absolutely 100% real.
I remember seeing that.
That was incredible. That chubby little baby, he was like flicking into, he was blowing smoke rings.
He knew what he was
like,
doing.
Can we put that on here right now, or is that not allowed?
I don't know about monetization, but who knows? We'll get
Okay, we won't
that
do
was
it.
hilarious, bro.
He knew what he
Look
was
that
doing,
up. That's
too.
hilarious. Okay, Paul, pillar number 4 is profit growth over the past 5 years. How's it going?
14.24 to
Oh my
4.47 X. Now, I will say this, Seth.
Go on.
The year before the 14.24 was 5.24. The year after was 10.2. So there might have been a sale of some asset right here that caused their profit to jump up. Because remember, the revenue was only about 25 billion that year.
When did this malarkey with the Jewel happen? Remember they had Jewel flying
Well, the Jewel
high?
write-off was right here in 2019.
2019?
You see
Yeah.
the big drop in profit from 7 billion down to a loss of 1.3. And I got to think last year they were greatly affected by the fact that, I mean, well, actually maybe people...
Maybe they
people
picked
were
up
buying,
smoking.
Yeah, they were like, oh, I'm doing nothing at home. I might as well smoke.
There were a couple, there were definitely some years where the trend was you should do the vaping because it's way more healthy for you.
And then
And then you have last year, everyone's sitting around vaping and
And I want to also harp on this for really quick. We ask a lot of these questions because our goal when we invest is to start at a high level and go down. We're not here to waste time doing intricate details in every single company. We'll never invest in anything. Our goal is to start very high level with our 8 pillars. And then if it makes sense to look further, we do. So you might be like, oh, these guys didn't do any research. Exactly.
Yeah, we definitely get some wise guys in the comments saying, you guys are totally missing this company. And that very well might be the case. You missed out on a ton of companies.
And I'm okay with that. My goal is to look at hundreds and hundreds of companies and find very quick ones that fit my criteria. So if you're butthurt about it, you'll survive. We're just trying to sit here and get through the high level to decide what the 8 pillars tells us to go look at next.
Butthurt.
I love butthurt. Isn't that a great term?
Pillar number 5 is shares outstanding. Paul, let's get back on track, baby.
We finally have some good news. 1.95 billion down to 1.86. So they are decreasing their shares, which gives current investors more of the company as they buy shares back.
Pillar number 6 is current assets over current liabilities. How are they doing?
7 billion versus 9 billion. So it's an X there, but this company seems like one of those companies that probably always is an X on. They probably don't ever have enough money because a lot of these companies that involve products like this will work a lot on float, on paying people later, et cetera. I don't know why that is, but it doesn't concern me as much that Philip Morris does not have, Altria Group does not have enough cash to pay off their current liabilities.
How about free cash flow? Pillar number 7.
My favorite of all time. Now, folks, our free cash flow statement is phenomenal for you investors because we actually add in the free cash flow line instead of you doing the math. Free cash flow is cash from operations less capital expenditures. And free cash flow can be used to pay dividends, buy back shares, pay down debt, make acquisitions, a myriad of things after the business has created all its profit, okay? Mm-hmm. So, last 5 years, 3.64 to 8.15 billion in free cash flow. So last year they only made whatever 2 billion. They had 8 billion in free cash flow. I love seeing this increasing free cash flow number. Okay, the average is 6.5. The company is about 100 billion. So we're going to take the market cap of 100 billion and divide it by the 5-year average to figure out if it's less than 20, which is our goal for price to free cash flow. And in fact, folks, it's about 15, give or take.
Yep,
so it's a check mark there, okay?
Pillar number 8 is a check mark. This is good stuff now, Paul.
Now, you're sitting there thinking to yourself, okay, we have a lot of checks here. Let's go look at the 8-pillar tab, which is only available on our Everything Money software.
Go ahead.
8-pillar tab shows you everything right here. And their metrics. So we have a loss in net income, which we saw, assets versus liabilities, which I'm okay with, and PE, which is what it is. But everything else we're looking at with check marks. Now, the question you have to ask yourself on this company going forward, how much will regulation affect, and what is the growth market of cigarettes? I believe they do own a piece of InBev.
They do.
Okay, so they are expanding to other quote-unquote sin businesses. You have to ask yourself, what's the future of this company? We saw the revenue growth was pretty much nothing. We saw the profit growth was hard to look at. The free cash flow growth was there. As an investor, everything is about the growth. The multiple you pay for the company is going to be based on the growth. Do you see a lot of growth? You pay a higher multiple. Do you see less growth? You pay a lower multiple. I personally, my viewpoint is not bullish on the cigarette business. Mm-hmm. This is a big driver of the revenue and profit. So I look at it saying even 15 times their price to free cash flow
no likey
probably isn't low enough for me.
Because the growth is just not there.
Not only growth, I think there's going to be ways that the government's going to try to regulate them even further.
As they are.
Now, this is the subjectivity and the art of investing. You have to decide what you're willing to pay for this company. I don't know exactly, but if I were to throw off the cuff right now, I'd want to be around $35 to $40 a share before I got interested.
At the time of this recording, it's $47.
Okay.
Paul, I think we had, back in the day, last year, April, May, June, I think we had puts on this at $30 to $35.
There you go. So it's pretty consistent with what I said right there. I want to be interested at those levels because even a dying business, and I want to show this example all the time, even a business that goes from making $5 to $4 to $3 to $2 to $1 and goes to zero, is still worth something. What are you willing to pay for this cash flow in the future? This is $15 of cash flow. What do you want to pay for that? 5? Probably. 6? Probably. 15? No. 20? No. But you're willing to pay for something even if it's a dying business. So you have to determine what that is. A business that potentially could be dying or at least stagnant still has value. You just got to determine what that value is. The great news is companies in this position usually are discredited by the market greatly, right? Now, the other thing is, if you saw, last year's free cash flow was around $8-some billion. The actual market cap is $97 billion. So in the last year, their price to free cash flow is 12-1.
Even better.
Even better. So if they can sustain last year's free cash flow going forward, we're very, very close. That 40 mark is more likely for where I want to be buying this company at in single-digit cash flow. Now, they do pay a lot of their free cash flow as dividends. If you remember, their dividends payout was about $6.5 billion of their $8.3 or $8.4 billion. So it doesn't leave much room left over for anything. But in a very mature business like Altria, you have to sit there and say, okay, if they're very mature, paying out dividends might attract a lot of people. Buying back shares will attract a lot of people as well because it'll increase the per share profit as time goes on, and that could drive the price of the stock.
If you're more aggressive with your buying in that Bid-Ask Nation, that middle Patreon tier, and you love Mo like I do, we'll go over to Trader Mo to see how we can make money on the ups and downs of this stock. Mo, tell us about it.
So we have about a 5% drop today. And this is because of the news that just came out. So it has turned into a downtrend. Now, it's very important to know that do not trade this stock today. And I'm going to let me just draw the candlestick for you. So I'm going to basically blow this up for you. So it looks like that and has this long wick on it and a little on top. And the price is right here. So that means that the stock price pulled back to here today and then has already rebounded back a little bit. So it was probably down, 7% at some point today? That's why when you get these initial drops and big reactions, just let things settle down, maybe wait till tomorrow. If we do get a follow-through red candlestick tomorrow, go ahead and short this thing. I think this thing can be a great short. You're going to face a little bit of resistance here, but man, you can get down to $40 a share, $39 a share with this. I think this is a great position. If you're just starting to short for the first time, this is a great starting point when you're comfortable.
Those who are trading with Mo, the team, the Bid-Ask Nation who are trading and making money, they are in the Patreon. If you've never joined a Patreon, take a look. Now might be the time. If you feel alone out there and maybe have no one to talk to about these trades, you can join our Discord community, our Patreon community, and the profits you'll reap will fulfill your greatest dreams ever, Paul. Maybe not so much, but it's definitely incredible. And show them the graph, Paul.
So when we first started this channel, I was using Y charts, which was a minimum $200 a month. And all the users kept saying, how do you get this data? I want this data. So I went and hired developers, paid for the software, the data feed, and made our own software. It used to be $8, got to 14, and now it's 22, on its way to 49, versus the competitors of $199, $199, and $35 a month. Here are all the things you get, and it's growing. We're going to be adding more and more as time goes on. One of our biggest things is the Discord community. Over 2,000 people are now paying for the software and get the Discord. They talk about ideas. They talk about all the things they're trying to do with their money. It's a great place to just find like-minded investors for 70 cents a day, $22 a month. You can have this. You're crazy not to do it if you're serious about investing.
That's our final take on Altria Group. An interesting stock. I still hold shares. We'll see where it goes. We'll see what the president does. Yeah, thanks for the insight. Take with a thumbs up on the way out. You know I love you guys, and we'll see you on our Tuesday live streams at 1 p.m. Thanks, guys.